we're tearing into a really fascinating framework. I mean, it's one that promises to make you not just resilient, but truly unbreakable.
Hmm.
This whole dive is about achieving this profound inner strength and grounding, but without becoming rigid or brittle.
Right. It's the art of finding calmness when you're under high pressure.
Exactly. And not by, avoiding the chaos of life, but by managing it from a place of, well, internal certainty.
And the source material we're using for this deep dive is this comprehensive guide to what the authors call compressed fortitude.
Compressed fortitude. I love that term.
It's a really beautifully designed 6-week journey, and it seeks to balance two essential complementary qualities. So on one side, you have fortitude.
That's the inner strength, the discipline,
Grounding you need for serious challenges, yes. And then on the other side, you have grace.
which is the openness, the self-compassion.
The calmness that you absolutely need for genuine personal growth. They have to work together.
I love that pairing because we always talk about being strong or being adaptable, but you rarely hear them linked as, mutually dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal of this guide is to give you a mechanism for navigating life with genuine ease, turning that external pressure into internal power.
Right.
And our mission today is simple. We are extracting the 6-step sequence and the most crucial exercises. So you should consider this your practical shortcut.
Well, a way to understand how to embody fortitude and grace, on a daily basis.
Let's dive in. Okay, so the guide sets the stage with something that, it sounds like a motivational cliche at first, but they treat it like a law of physics.
Your thoughts create your circumstances.
Right. But for our listeners, that can't just mean think happy thoughts.
Mm.
How does this guide use fortitude to make that concept, actionable?
It's precisely about moving past that cliche. Fortitude, in this context, is the discipline to just observe your own mind. The guide calls the first step the thought audit. And it teaches you that resilience is built not by suppressing negative thoughts, but by noticing them and then actively choosing which ones you allow to shape your day.
So you stop being a passive victim of your own mental chatter.
You become the editor.
So how do you operationalize that? I mean, what's the mechanism for transformation beyond just, being aware of it?
The shift they focus on is what they call grace and clarity. But the clarity isn't about solving all your problems instantly. It comes from being truly present with the thought, without judgment. When you just, pause instead of reacting impulsively to the panic or the worry, those mental loops, they start to lose their authority over you.
That distinction, the pause creating clarity rather than needing clarity before you can pause, that's vital. So what's the daily routine for this audit?
It's a structured 2-part day. Each morning, you write down one specific thought that keeps showing up. You know the one, that nagging repetitive leap.
Oh, yeah. We all have one.
And you just spend the day paying attention to how that thought affects your body, your mood, your choices.
Now, the rewriting part happens at night. That sounds like the real heavy lifting.
That is where the transformation happens. You look at that fear-based thought again, but now you apply grace. So fortitude is the discipline to sit down and face the fear.
And grace is the self-compassion.
Exactly. You use it when you rewrite the thought. You turn the fear, let's say, I'm going to fail this presentation, into a truthful thought that leads to a clear, small next step.
Can you walk us through a quick example of that rewrite?
Absolutely. So if the fear thought is, I'm incapable of succeeding at this new project, fortitude makes you write it down. You notice it makes you procrastinate.
Okay.
The rewrite might be something like, I am currently learning new skills, and uncertainty is a natural part of that. My truthful next step is to spend 30 minutes researching the first task.
So you turn this paralyzing, generalized anxiety into a specific, actionable step.
You do. And the guiding principle for all of this mental work is the affirmation. My thoughts serve my peace, not my fear.
That makes the process incredibly concrete.
Yeah.
So if we start by controlling the narrative inside our heads, the next logical step has to be addressing the limits we place on ourselves.
Yes.
Because so often the real obstacles, they aren't external. They're the boundaries we've built internally.
And that brings us straight to week 2, the boundary reframe. The core teaching here is deliberately provocative. It's limits are illusions.
Okay, whoa.
Now, this doesn't mean external constraints like, physics or budgets don't exist. Of course they do.
Right.
It means the emotional and psychological limits we impose on our own potential are entirely negotiable. Fortitude helps you look at obstacles not as hard stops, but as chances to grow.
Wait, limits are illusions. I mean, that sounds like it could be a bit dismissive of real constraints, like of fixed budget or a hard deadline.
Yeah, that's a really important distinction. The guide is specifically challenging the internal narrative. It says some boundaries protect you, like a boundary around self-respect. Keep that.
Of course.
But others come from fear or past trauma or limiting beliefs we just absorbed a long time ago. You get to choose which ones you listen to.
So how does grace factor in here? How does it help you move past these limits without just burning out or being reckless?
That's the introduction of grace and understanding. So grace doesn't fight the limit aggressively, it seeks to understand its root.
Oh.
When you realize why that internal wall exists, what old fear it was built to protect, it becomes so much easier to dismantle it. The understanding removes the emotional charge.
So the goal is context, not conflict. What's the exercise for this boundary work?
It's highly practical, immediately actionable. First, you write down 3 specific things you tell yourself you cannot do.
Okay.
Then you do the mental reframe. You just add the word yet to the end of each statement. For example, I cannot speak up for myself in meetings yet.
Wow. That one single word, it transforms a fixed state into a temporary challenge.
That neurological shift is huge. It turns identity into behavior.
It does.
And the final essential step is to choose just one of those cannot yets and take one single small step toward it that week.
Just one.
Maybe that just means researching how to structure an argument or just practicing one phrase in the mirror. And the affirmation for this week is powerful. Every limit I face reveals the power I possess.
Okay, so we've audited our internal fears. We've tested our self-imposed boundaries. What happens when we take that internal clarity and we apply it to things that feel truly out of our control, like time itself?
That's where the source material pivots in week 4. It dives into time and fear. And the observation is that fear and worry, they create this psychological paradox.
A paradox.
They make everything feel impossibly slow and heavy, but at the same time, they make you feel rushed and constantly behind. When you're worried, time just drags, and that paralysis, it stops you from doing anything productive.
I think every high-achieving person has been caught in that exact loop. The anxiety of not having enough time, which leads to doing nothing, which just increases the anxiety. It's debilitating.
And Fortitude's role here is to interrupt that paralysis. It teaches you to move with purpose and intention, not to rush from worry. When your movement is intentional, time, paradoxically, feels more open, more spacious and manageable.
The internal urgency is replaced by flow.
Yes.
I hear the idea of moving with purpose, but honestly, when I'm in a high-stress situation, divine rhythm feels a bit like a luxury. Is there a physical, immediate way the guide suggests to break that paralysis?
No, it's very much grounded in physical action. The shift is termed grace and timing. It's about recognizing when to act and when to pause, trusting the process instead of forcing an outcome.
And the exercise.
The exercise is designed specifically to break the spell of that anxiety-induced paralysis.
What's the practical remedy?
It's deceptively simple and highly disruptive. You choose one single thing you've been putting off because of fear or anxiety. Maybe a difficult conversation or filing some paperwork.
Okay.
And then you commit to spending one quiet, undisturbed hour working only on that thing.
1 hour. And the goal is not to finish it. It's just to disrupt the fear mechanism.
Precisely. The focus is to feel how your perception of time shifts when you move without hesitation, even if the task isn't complete. That single quiet hour can feel longer than a whole day of rushed, fearful activity.
Because the pressure to do everything is lifted.
That mental space, that willingness to start without demanding perfection, that is grace in action. And the affirmation for the week summarizes it. Courage moves in divine rhythm.
Okay, moving from the anxiety of time to something with a lot more gravity. Pain. The source material offers a truly profound quote here. Pain is life's greatest teacher. That's a phrase that can sound hollow, but how does this framework make it actionable?
This is week 5. Pain as teacher. The analysis explains that deep pain, it changes you, whether you want it to or not. And Fortitude's role here is crucial. It gives you the discipline to pay attention to that process.
Not fighting it, not embracing it, just paying attention.
Just paying attention to the lesson that's embedded within the difficulty. Pain removes what is not true about yourself, and it reveals what truly matters.
So Fortitude provides the attention. I assume grace handles the integration. Tell us about grace and healing.
Yes. Grace helps you learn from what happened instead of being permanently defined by it. You learn to see your past not as something that happens to you, but as something that prepares you.
So your identity shifts from I am a victim of this pain to
I am the strength this pain created.
that's a powerful change in narrative.
Mm.
And the guide gives us a specific path to follow, right? The 3 key questions.
Yes. The 3 questions exercise is central to this week. You write down 3 painful experiences that really shaped you. For each one, you answer 3 questions.
What are they?
1, what did it teach me? 2, what did it remove from my life or belief system? And 3, what did it prepare me for?
And the final step, turning the lesson into a legacy. Why is sharing so important here?
Sharing is the ultimate act of grace. By articulating the lesson, what was removed, and what you are now ready for, you transform that stored inert pain into active, useful wisdom.
You take ownership of the narrative.
You move it from a private wound to a public teaching. It's an incredible act of resilience, and the affirmation seals it. I am not my pain. I am the strength it created.
So let's connect the dots. We've audited our thoughts, tested our limits, confronted fear's grip on time, and integrated the lessons of pain. Where does this entire journey, where does it ultimately lead us?
It leads to the final stage, week 6, which is all about active self-definition. They call it the becoming map, and it's built around this idea it's not where you come from, but who you choose to become.
I like that.
Fortitude is the engine that keeps you going, ensuring consistency. And grace is the compass, allowing you to see the expansive possibilities of who you can be separate from your past.
So the map isn't about arriving at some fixed destination. It's about deliberately shaping a chosen identity every single day.
That is the essence of the Grace and Becoming shift. The material makes it clear that real change doesn't happen by rushing or through aggressive self-criticism. It happens as you grow into the space you've created for yourself,
The person you're becoming is already inside you.
waiting for you to trust that process. This week is about intentionally laying out the architecture for that future self.
So how do they recommend structuring that practically?
Through the 3 columns exercise, you physically draw 3 columns: past self, present self, and chosen self.
Okay.
In the past self column, you write down old habits, fears, limiting beliefs. In the present self column, what you're actively letting go of right now. And in the chosen self column, you write the specific qualities and actions you are building.
Can you give us a quick example? If my past self was, say, a people pleaser, what would the chosen self quality be?
Well, a people pleaser carried anxiety and conformity. So the chosen self wouldn't just be aggressive self-interest, but something more grounded, like principled advocate or clear communicator.
Things that manifest through action, not just feeling.
Exactly. And the crucial final action is to choose one small, achievable action each week that explicitly matches a quality of your chosen self.
That intentional small action
Yeah.
that is compressed fortitude in practice, strength distilled into daily consistency. Which brings us to the final synthesis the guide offers. The quiet between power and peace.
It is the culmination. It's realizing that fortitude and grace create this profound internal rhythm. If fortitude is the strong spine that keeps you upright in a storm,
Then grace is the ability of your shoulders to give a little under pressure so you don't snap.
they work together. That's it.
And what's the dialogue they share?
The guide summarizes it beautifully. Fortitude says, I will endure.
And grace answers.
I will evolve.
Wow. And together, that dialogue becomes the foundation of unshakable peace. Strength that doesn't need to shout, and a softness that never surrenders to fear.
Exactly. The source material says this mastery is what leads to becoming truly unbreakable. When you're centered in that quiet space, the storms outside, they don't own you anymore, they just teach you.
You learn to walk forward steady, whole, and certain.
Your actions become wisdom whispered, and your peace becomes the loudest proof that you've mastered the art of compressed fortitude.
We've really covered a comprehensive journey today. Moving from auditing your most intimate thoughts to literally mapping out your evolution from pain into power.
I think the core insight from this material is that every single difficult experience you encounter is really at its root a tailor-made lesson about who you're growing into.
So all this knowledge, it's applicable to every corner of your life.
It is. It enables you to resist pressure and walk forward steady and certain.
It's a profound framework for internal mastery. And for you, the listener, we want to leave you with one final thought based on that pivotal boundary reframe. If you stop believing just one of your major self-imposed limits today, right now, what specific, immediate opportunity might be waiting for you on the other side of that fear? Think about the one small step you would take. We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.